Hello to all my Trinity killers out there and you Bay Harbor butchers. My name is EJ and welcome back to my channel. We are back for another review of Dexter Original Sin. We took a week off because, I don't know, we decided to take a week off. So my goodness, we are back and this episode has the most explosive twist that I think almost all of us in the comments saw coming. Yes, we are talking about episode 7, The Big Bad Body Problem. Dexter Original Sin has hit a crucial point in every season of Dexter. We now know who the killer is. Well, one of the killers. There seems to be two killers, the one that's killing the people around the town and the child killer. Yeah, my goodness, we've hit this point, and I have to say, we all kind of at least expected this. I'm using the ghost face in Scream movies mentality. Who's the biggest name on the cast? Oh, it's Patrick Dempsey. He's probably the killer, and turns out that he was. And yeah, I'm intrigued by this. I thought it was an interesting point to kind of thrust us here with the story. I did see it coming. I did think it was pretty obvious, but I'm curious of now the how and the why. I think it's interesting to figure out the who, but that was easy. We all put our detective brains on pretty early. Dexter put it on pretty well in this episode as well, but we put that detective brain on and we figured out the who. Now I need to know the why, the what, the how, all of that. And I think that's what makes the rest of this show intriguing. I think it could make it a decent viewing because we have this why. Why would we be doing this? I think it does explain his, disregard of the other cases, the one that Maria and Harry are working on, his to that. Yeah, he's probably just a bad person. I do love the shout out to Tampa that Maria and Harry are going to be going to Tampa. Hey, pay me a visit. It's the early 90s. I'm born. I'm a bebe, but I'm born, so come visit me. Yeah, I liked this episode. I thought it was interesting. I thought there was a good humor side to it of Dexter trying to figure out where to hide the body, just going up to all the cops. So where would you guys hide a body? Just so awkward, so amazing. I love the character of Dexter. I love the beeperness of this episode. Yes, I don't really care about his relationship with Deb's friend, sure, but the beeper stuff was cool when he threw it and it said go to hell, and I'm like, God, I remember having to flip codes around in text messages. We lived a rough life in the late 90s, early 2000s. Wow. So yeah, this episode was exactly what it needed to do. It thrust us into a major section of the story now with what's going on with our main killer. I didn't really care about the flashback stuff. I do like that sexy Spanish man was in the pool, and I'm like, oh man, Laura Moser, she could have had a different life. You know what I mean? She could have had this beautiful, fabulous life with that beautiful Latino man running a cartel. I would have wanted that for her because that's my Scarface fantasy, but she has a different outcome. It seems like that's going to be her story where we know where it is going. She's ending up in that, what was it? The storage container and all the blood. We know that is coming. We know it's going to be there and it's going to be heartbreaking. But again, that's my problem with the flashback stuff is I just know where it's ending, and I guess I'm not really as intrigued by that as I am what's going on with Dexter, what's going on with the mysteries, what is going on with Tanya Martin. I don't know, Sarah Michelle Gellar is less obvious as a killer now, but I'm still intrigued what we're going to do with her. She's another big name. Are we just going to have her as the person who kind of mentors Dexter, or are we going to see her have a bigger role? We have a lot more of Dexter Original Sin. Seems like it's brewing. I don't know if this was the finale. It felt season 1 finale-ish, but then I'm like, well, when is season 2? You know what I mean? If this is the final episode, I would be okay with it for a season if I know that we are returning to this later on. Yeah, overall, it's a solid episode that tells the story it needed to tell. It gave me the humor, it gave me the horror, it gave me a little bit of everything I needed for a good Dexter episode. The episode begins and we pick up where we left it off. Yeah, Dexter is at the swamp with a body in his trunk, one of his bodies being investigated. What does he do here? How does he get out of the situation? Drama. Dexter is so damn dramatic. Younger Dexter might be, to me, more entertaining than Michael C. Hall's character, which I haven't watched Dexter in a while to really be like, yes, he was funny, but Patrick Gibson's comedy routines here are just so good. Him falling into the water to get the gator to eat the hand, it was so stupid, but it worked, and I thought it was funny, and everyone kind of bought it. I don't know, this character just genuinely, he makes me laugh. I think this is a fun version of Dexter, and watching him be so early and like going home, eating the spaghetti, dealing with Deb about the relationship stuff while he smells, and then he has to like, take the body that he has not to the swamp, so he throws it in a dumpster. Like all of this stuff is just kind of easy comedy. It's simple, it's funny, it's effective. It works for me in the in-between of the murder mystery stuff. Yeah, the murder mystery stuff's fine. I'm trying to figure out all the pieces, why, Captain's doing this, who's killing all these random people around the town. I like all that. Still think it might be Deb's boyfriend. That could be a interesting way of going it. I also think Deb's boyfriend and Deb's mom's boyfriend, the Spanish guy running the cartel, they were so similar that I'm like, oh, no, different decades. We would have completely different human beings all together. So yeah, I like all these little pieces coming together, and this intro was fun. It was to the point, and the episode really doesn't pick up, though, until midway through when Nikki loses a finger, and it launches all of our characters into this whole new side where we're seeing people have to deal with that, we're seeing people start investigating that, and we're seeing our killer be revealed. The episode has a bunch of smaller moments that I thought were pretty intriguing, like the Deb and her friend just beefing, just over Dexter, but over more than that. Deb gets kicked off the team. What is she going to do? We know she ends up being a cop, which will be an interesting kind of route for her character, seeing where she was here. So motivated by wanting to be cool, so motivated by wanting to fit into this like girlhood that she lives around. She ends up going to such a male-dominated field. It's an interesting story for Deb, and I think seeing these early roots has made me interested in the Deb character. Yes, I am warming up to her. She still annoys me, but that's always been Deb. If you watched me reviewing the original Dexter, I was going to have some beef with Deb anyway. So yeah, I like that stuff. I also like the cop coming out to Dexter and Dexter being like, I don't care. Like, oh, are you a murderer? Then I don't care what you're doing. Like, you could be gay, straight. Like, Dexter is the ally we need. He sees no color. He sees no gender. He sees no nothing. He just sees bad people and wants to kill them. Honestly, this day and age, I'll take it. I'll take it. With what we have going on, I would take a Dexter that is just like, oh, gay, cool, killer? No, then we're fine. Yeah, it's cute. There's a lot of little moments throughout the episode, but again, the episode really picks up when Nikki loses the finger. It gets sent over to the police station. We do see in that moment there is a slight bit of a back and forth there. It's interesting to see that now that we know that it's Nikki's dad doing it, that hesitation cut that Dexter points out, all these little moments, it start going, but why? Why are we doing this? We'll figure that out eventually, I am sure, but I am really intrigued by what is exactly the motivation behind it. But Dexter puts that thinking brain on, sees that little spackle of blood on side of the box, and he's like, oh, and then we get some DNA from that. We see it's the same blood type, and that's when Dexter notices that the police chief, the police captain, I don't know the world of cops, I don't care enough. ACAB. But anyways, yeah, we see the stuff there, so he's just like, we see what we're gonna have to do there. So it's an interesting thing for sure of watching Dexter kind of put all the pieces together. He's really starting to be the investigator that we know him to be, and it's really intriguing. It really does work in this episode. That moment of like Dexter going like the oh my god, it was great. It was such a well-sold moment by our actors and by our filmmakers. We all kind of expected it to come, but how it was executed was probably the best part of the episode. Besides figuring out the big part of this mystery, I think there was one more little part that I wanted to touch on, was Dexter talking to Angel about the Tony case. He's just like, oh, that's the finger of the guy that I knew. And Dexter, to me, really becomes the sociopath there. That's just like, oh, I see what you're doing, but we need to do this. We need to focus there. I thought, again, Dexter's evolution, this episode specifically, was great. So as we starting to see Dexter evolve and we start to see where the landscape is, what are your final predictions for where we're going to go with the story? Will everyone believe that Captain Spencer is the killer? Is Dexter going to have to take care of him on his own and then he just mysteriously poofs away? Like, I'm intrigued by this because this is a big kill for Dexter to grab. And yes, I don't think he had to reference everything he did as a kid, but it's kind of mind-blowing that he's just like, the whole seasons we saw of Dexter, he's never like, oh yeah, that one time that I had to kill the old police chief, the man who was running the show, I had to get rid of him when I was a child. We never heard that before. So that's an interesting thing that I don't know what Dexter's going to have to do with him. What are your predictions there? Where do you think Dexter's going to have to deal with our two killers? We have one that's possibly, I think, Deb's boyfriend running a cartel, maybe finding out people who are in a different life. What if it's the cop? What if it's the black cop who is, these are all people in the LGBTQ community? No, I don't want a gay black killer. That's not nice. Deb's boyfriend. Latino sexy man. Easy to kill, I guess. Who knows? I don't know, but what are your predictions? Like, where are you thinking it's going? Who's going to figure out what? What are your final thoughts as we end Dexter, as we head to season 2, as we have more episodes? I don't know where we're going, but my goodness, I am frazzled in a good way. All right, everyone, that is it for my review of this week's Dexter Original Sin. We took that week off because, I don't know, Dexter wanted to take a week off. But hey, guys, I have a Scream video on my channel. I worked really hard on it. It's an In Defense of Scream 3. If you are a fan of movies that came out 25 years ago, yes, the year 2000, I am journeying back to the year 2000 to talk about these nostalgic movies. Scream 3 was first up, so make sure you guys check that out. And what did you think of this week's Dexter Original Sin? Share your thoughts down in the comments below. Make sure you guys subscribe. I'm still doing Dexter Original Sin reviews. We have Yellow Jackets. They sent me Yellow Jackets early. Girl. Oh my god. But yeah, there is a lot to talk about, a lot to get into. So make sure you guys, like I said, comment, subscribe. We have a crazy year ahead of us. I love you guys for joining me. So thank you again. And let's talk about Dexter's latest episode right down below.